Do you lead teams, departments, or even projects? Then this video is for you. I'm Adriana Girdler. I'm a productivity specialist and president of Cornerstone Dynamics and myvisualvision.com. And in this video, you will learn how to be a better leader at work in 3 impactful steps. There is so much on this subject of leadership, and I want to go beyond just skills and traits that you can totally pull off the web yourself, and I want to go into 3 impactful techniques that you can start utilizing today with your team to be more successful and be a better leader. Step number 1, I'd like for you to create a safe environment, a psychologically safe environment, that is, where people feel accepted and respected. So what's an unsafe environment? So we can understand why the safe environment is so important. Well, an unsafe environment is where there's lots of judgment, where you're reprimanded, that if you make a mistake, it's held against you, where bringing up new ideas are shot down. Does any of that sound familiar? Well, that really is an unsafe environment. And if you're going to be a better leader and you want your team to click and connect and move forward and come up with creative and new innovative ideas that every organization always says they want, the first thing you have to do is ensure that your team feels safe. And as a leader, that is your role and responsibility to do so. So how do you create this safe environment? Well, I have the perfect solution for you, something that I've actually incorporated with many of my clients that were having this very particular issue. Step number 1 is with your team, you actually want to create team norms or team ways of working. And this is an agreement where everyone comes together to say, hey, this is how we all agree to be and work together so we can ensure that we are a cohesive group. Step 2 is you actually want to put it in a poster and place it everywhere because you want to reinforce these norms. And the last thing, which is step 3, is now that you have your team norms that everyone's created together, they're plastered everywhere. I'm assuming you're also going to have them in meeting rooms, is you actually want to revisit them as much as you can and then give some tools and techniques for your team to call you out on it as well as each other. And so at every meeting, you want to review those team rules. You may want to have like a little bell, ding, 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 that allows you to kind of call someone out on it. Sometimes people have done cards where they actually said, hey, give you a card, you went against a team norm. But when you set up these norms right away with everyone's buy-in, it gives them the permission to call each other out when people go against the norms. But even more importantly, as you as the leader, they can call you out. Because it's really important that not only as a leader, you talk the talk, but you walk the talk. Step number 2, I want you to be a roadblock remover, not the roadblock. I see this over and over again. Even some of my own clients are actually a roadblock for me when I'm trying to get things done. And then I see that trickle effect happening within their own teams. So what do I mean by this? It means being available to answer critical questions so that your team actually can move forward on stuff. It's very frustrating when your team is basically stopped and they can't do the next step because they're waiting for you to reply back to an email or provide the direction necessary in order for them to proceed on the tasks. One of the things as a leader is if you can empower your team and set up some rules around this, it's really helpful. But critically, even more so, it's your responsibility as a leader to ensure that you're not the roadblock and that you do everything in your power to ensure that your team can move forward. So what are some things that you can do for your team? Well, number 1 is establish a rule around email. Answer your emails within 24 hours. And what I mean by that is if you're really busy and you don't answer emails, and I do know some people like that, even if you're just reply back saying, okay, I got it, people at least know she's really busy, he's really busy, they'll get back to me. At least have that 24-hour rule. Something else that we've incorporated with clients as well is use that subject header line in your email to say, action, need reply, bold. I mean, every single part bold. And then in there, put your stuff that you need. That's really important way of kind of popping out for that particular leader, knowing that, hey, I better answer this now because it has criticality to it. Now, you have to train your team not to do that for every single email, because then all of a sudden you have the same problem you had before. So it's really for answers that you need right away. And then another technique that we've used too is train your team to come and start compiling a list of everything they need to talk to you about. Because one of the things I see a lot in major organizations is this sense of urgency. Oh my goodness, I need this answer right away. But in reality, you really didn't. I always say, don't interrupt someone who's doing their work unless it's absolutely necessary, like there's a fire or an ambulance has been called. But in all honesty, everything else really is not an emergency. It's only our emergency. It's something that we feel is urgent, but we don't understand how we can interrupt people and their flow. So teach your team as a leader to compile everything they have to talk to you about and set up those one-on-one meetings so that when they do reach out to you for instantaneous reply, you know it's a true instantaneous reply. And they also know that ultimately all their other questions will be answered because they've started that list, compiling everything they have to talk to you about, and they're going to meet with you at some point anyway. Step number 3 is to provide structure to empower your team to make decisions. Too many times I see leaders become what I call the bottleneck. Just like what I said earlier on, sometimes leaders don't get back to their team members, and as a result, team members are stuck. But the opposite side as well is the leader has all the information in their head and they're becoming a bottleneck. And that also stops the team members from moving forward. So if you want to become a better leader, have some structure. So there's 3 core things you can do to have some structure and bring empowerment. The first one is be very clear on what the vision is, whether that's a vision for the project, your department, or even within your organization. And use that as a tool. So people can say, hey, wait a minute, I'm working on this. I know it's in line with the vision. I'm okay to move forward in doing it, versus always having to ask, is this okay? Can I do this? If it's in line with the vision, because as a leader, you said, hey, everything we do is in line with the vision. So if you can tell me it's in line with the vision and back it up, then I'm cool with it. That's an amazing empowerment you can give the team in order to move forward so that they're not constantly coming to you for every single approval, which then you become a bottleneck. Second thing you can do to not be a bottleneck for them and to provide that structure is to actually do a priority board for all your projects and activities that are going on. So even my own organization, we actually have that. We have a priority board, and you can do this electronically. You can do it on a whiteboard. It's really up to you what's going to work well, but something that you have to take a look at. And at the beginning of the week, you actually cohesively with your team look at the priority board and say, all right, here are all the projects we are working on, all the major milestones. What's number 1 today, or for this week, what's number 2, number 3. That is really helpful, because when things pop up and you have to fight fires, which always happens, right, in the business world, then you actually know what you can and are supposed to work on. And your team doesn't have to come to you saying, oh my goodness, leader, what do I do now? I have this issue and I have these 3 things to work on. Empower them to say, hey, this is priority 1 this week, so this is the one that is of importance. And they don't have to worry about justifying it because you did it collectively as a team. And last but not least, have a team action list. So whether that is something that is just high-level milestones and everyone has a more detailed one, but a common place that everyone can go to and know that for these priorities, these projects, here are the high-level milestone action items that we all have to work on, is really powerful for empowerment, because when they're done something, they don't have to knock on your door and saying, hey, I'm done this, what do you want me to work on next? You then become the bottleneck, because now you have to, as a leader, figure it out. Well, guess what? You don't have to do that anymore. Have the action item list and say, just go to the action item list and take a peek at what's next that you're responsible for. And it empowers them to move forward, allowing them and you to do what needs to get done to move forward on the organizational goals. Being a leader is a really important responsibility, and by implementing these 3 impactful steps, you will see a huge difference, not only for yourself, but for your team, allowing you to move forward to your goals. Please feel free to check out our website. We have tons of blogs actually on leadership that has a lot of other, what I call golden nuggets, and you can take those along with the advice given in this video to move you and your team to the next level. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the button below, but not only that, please share it with your friends and colleagues. Because again, if everyone's a great leader, it makes everybody's life easier. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at the next video.